Ladies and gentlemen, according to John Durham's filing, one of his recent filings, and according to the indictment, but if you look at the recent filing, defending his indictment of Michael Sussman, which was upheld by a federal judge, the background, the timeline, and all the information pertaining to Sussman working with tech executives and getting paid by Clinton to obtain information, breach servers, and compile data on Trump, and then give that information in a flawed narrative to government agencies in order for them to investigate Trump. That was upheld by a federal court. And I talked about that the last two segments. But according to a recent filing, this is very important. The quote, "The government's evidence at trial will also establish that among the internet data tech executive one and his associates exploited was domain name system internet traffic pertaining to a particular healthcare provider." What? And then Trump Tower, Donald Trump's Central Park West apartment building, and the executive office of the President of the United States. Now, it's bad enough they're trying to infiltrate the executive office of the President of the United States, or Trump's Central Park West apartment building, or Trump Tower. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 locations, or 4 locations where they're trying to obtain data, but a particular healthcare provider? So when they say that, well, the Durham probe doesn't say anything about that they were spying or trying to set up Trump. No, they don't use the word. So what? The factual basis of the indictment of Michael Sussman stood. The judge upheld Durham's analysis and timeline of everything, and of what Sussman and the tech executive and the internet researchers were alleged to have done. Durham does not need to state that Trump was spied on. He can explain exactly how the surveillance took place. You don't need to hear that. And then you can, in a logical and rational manner, saying, oh, that activity amounts to, oh, guess what? Surveillance. Yeah. Because if the same thing was done to mashed potato brains Biden or Madam Secretary, there would be a fact check every 2 seconds. Fact check. It is true that Trump wanted to engage in the surveillance of Clinton. He paid Rudy Giuliani to work with a tech executive to find information on a particular healthcare provider, and then the equivalent of Trump Tower, Central Park West apartment building, and the executive office of the President of the United States after he was elected in 2017. And then the information obtained was then given to the Central Intelligence Agency and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the reason Sussman was indicted was because he did not tell James Baker, according to Baker, that he was paid by Clinton, which would have prevented or altered any investigation, allegedly, or one might assume based on the indictment. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. I'm going to be doing a lot more work on that very soon. But why would you want information on a particular healthcare provider and internet traffic? So they're looking at servers of a particular healthcare provider. Why would they want? And in the indictment, so that's from the filing. In the indictment, it says, on or about September 16, 2016, Originator 1 replied to the aforementioned recipient discussing an allegation that Sussman was soon conveyed to the FBI regarding the bank's alleged use of purported Tor exit node, a node used for and anonymized internet traffic at a particular U.S.-based healthcare company 1, to communicate with the Trump organization. Then Sussman described the allegations of a secret Trump organization server that was in communication with the bank, including that Bank One had used a Tor exit node located at Healthcare Company 1 to communicate with the Trump organization. Is this, I mean, there are laws protecting an American citizen's healthcare, health information. So a healthcare company linked to Trump is now part of this, and this is supposed to be just legal and fine. Maybe there's corporate espionage all the time. So they obtain a whole bunch of information. They go through dumpsters of, companies have been known to go through rival competitors' dumpsters to look for information, okay? But a healthcare provider linked to Trump, they went after his healthcare provider, apparently, or a provider linked to Trump. How on earth is that not surveillance? He was under surveillance, and then the apoplectic indignation when Trump doesn't accept, oh my God, results. These people weaved a narrative where now you have very intelligent, highly educated, morally superior liberal Democrats who truly believe that, you know what, Putin had something on Trump. He just did. Well, do you have any evidence? No. But he just did. Well, what do you think of people who don't accept the results of those people are horrible, and then they undermine democracy? Well, but you without any evidence at all, and actually with endless investigations pointing to no evidence that anyone conspired alongside a Russian intelligence official, because the Mueller probe did not indict anybody for that, that was the whole reason for the Mueller probe. There was this sprawling, effort by Trump's people to benefit from Russia. Well, they didn't find to work with intelligence officers. That never happened. So why do morally superior, wonderful, very highly educated liberal Democrats believe this nonsense, and then get indignant when Trump doesn't believe? Oh my God, the results. They want their cake and they want to eat it too. They want to be able to believe in myths while at the same time trying to dispel myths. They want to claim that Trump is the epitome of a liar while they lie through their teeth every single second of the day. And you had Biden, who waived sanctions on Nord Stream 2 and did not accept the request by Zelensky to join NATO. Those two issues led to what's taking place right now. And then they say, well, they impeached Trump. Yeah, they impeached Trump. They don't need evidence to impeach anyone. They impeached Trump for January also. He wasn't indicted for that. He wasn't indicted for allegedly forcing another country to investigate our beloved mashed potato brains. And so the fact that he was impeached is completely irrelevant to whether or not he withheld lethal aid, which he didn't. They got the lethal aid, and President Zelensky again himself stated Trump never pressured him, and Poroshenko before him, the president, stated that he was never pressured. So there you go. These people believe in myths and nonsense, and it's like, I actually look at the public available record, like in the form of indictments. You can actually look at the Mueller probe report, and it exonerates Trump. You can actually look at the things they write, like the Steele dossier. Read it. It's a bunch of absurd nonsense. It's like a fantasy novel, except without any redeeming qualities of reading any fiction or literature. It's just pure propaganda. Like, you can actually, when they say, we spoke to this expert, the fact checks are usually, we disagree, and we spoke to this, and it's an appeal to, all of these fact checks are usually appeals to authority. They don't really directly refute anything. But you can actually refute any allegation or insinuation or inference that Trump was installed by the Ruskies. Why? Because you can read the actual indictments. These people conspired to set up and frame Trump, getting paid to do so. Sussman was paid by Clinton. That's why he's indicted. He's indicted because he was paid by Clinton and didn't tell James Baker, the top legal counsel of the FBI. And if you ask James Comey now, he's lying through his teeth. He's saying, well, I didn't know the dossier was purchased by Clinton. Well, of course, this is the man who's supposed to keep America safe while he was director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He doesn't know that the dossier that they used was paid by Clinton. Of course he does. They're all lying under oath. It's only a matter of time. Look, when people say the biggest mistake people can make is that, oh, well, nothing's ever going to happen. It's like, well, what do you expect? All of media is on one political side. Media learned in 2016 that if they're not completely hysterical and apoplectic and laser focused on pushing the Democratic Party narrative, Democrats just, their ideology basically dissolves. You're seeing it right now. They've jettisoned pretty much everything they campaigned on. Climate change, oh, well, that's out the window because the strategic reserves of oil. And now you have the White House press secretary saying, well, you know what? Oil and gas companies, they can go ahead and they can, pump as much oil and gas as possible. It's their problem. They're the reason. You came in saying you wanted to alter the economy and do away with fossil fuels, and now you're backtracking. They don't even believe. Do you understand? Look, they don't believe anything they say. I know these types of people. They don't believe anything. They just want to fit in. Democrats just want to fit in. They don't want to combat climate change because it's such a broad and ambiguous statement. You don't know where to start because you don't know when the planet will end. And you don't know what, driving an electric car vehicle will do. And meanwhile, China and Russia have a monopoly on nickel and lithium and other metals. Or they're like, world's top three, the producer, or they own the mines in countries where indigenous people risk their lives. So you, the morally superior, wonderful liberal Democrat, can drive your EV and feel so good about yourself that indigenous people were mining cobalt on your behalf. And I wrote about that in The Federalist, my first article in The Federalist. So go in and read, just go type in H.A. Goodman Federalist on YouTube. And you could read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, The Times of Israel, The Daily Caller, other publications on hagoodman.com. Hit subscribe to this channel. I'll be back in about 2 hours, people. Be here in about 2 hours. Thank you.